Hey, I just wanted to get on this live today to not just to vent, but there was something came up last week. In a way, it was a positive thing, but something really dropped in for me about how we present ourselves, the space that we claim, and how we use our voices and our representation. Because, as we know, representation matters. But sometimes you have to be that representation. It's down to you. There's change that we want to see, but sometimes you have to grab the mic, and you have to grab the mic and get on that stage and get up behind that camera and or that microphone. And you need to claim your space, and in a way that gets you heard, that substantiates the validity of you being there and broadens the narrative. And okay, blah, blah, blah. What brought me to this was last week I was on a business social media that will go unnamed. There was a conversation around, of course, I started the conversation, so guess what it was about? Podcast casting and what we could be doing, what we should be doing with it. And one individual, one connection of mine who happens to be a man, happens to be an older man, but with a very rich business background. He happened to mention that in the last year, yes, he had found this very powerful because he and another friend who is basically, identical demographic, had gotten together and created the authoritative business chat, weekly interview kind of event. It was a live event, which would then be turned into a podcast. And this was the definitive business discussion with experts in their field for this entire portion of the province. It is a province that is has one of the greatest populations and is supposed to be part of the economic juggernaut of the entire country of Canada. And this particular area has about 1 million people in it and claims to have a very robust industry, business, and tech contribution to the economy of that area. So these two gentlemen are having this weekly discussion about what really matters, and what's going on, where the significant things are happening in this business world. I was curious. He said that in the last year, they had about 300,000 downloads for this. I thought, that's awesome. Let's see what you guys are saying about it. So out of curiosity, I went to a podcast directory, looked through it, something like 51 episodes. Awesome. And then I started noticing, wait a minute. You're just interviewing other people like you. For first thing, you can tell by the names, who's male and who's female. Something like 6 women over the course of 51 episodes, maybe 6 women had actually been on the show representing something important that's happening in the business world, something significant that people should know about. 6 female voices in an area that is claiming to be such a robust business area for the province. And so that started kind of grinding down on me. And then I thought about, well, good for them, because it's, when you think about it, as much as it might tick you off, it might outrage you, it might be audacious, really, when you think about it, really, can you claim to be the voice for this entire phenomenon, this entire economic phenomenon? You can if you grab the mic and say you are. So kudos to them. Big cojones to get out there and say, like, yes, we represent what's all going on. And who we have on is the image to you of the people that really matter in this whole game, which is a very skewed picture. And it's also a picture that is not unfamiliar to most of us, because we are used to seeing that kind of person, white guys on stages, on television, on camera, on mic. The vast majority of podcasts are male hosted. We're used to seeing them as the authority figures. But these two people, it's debatable as to whether or not they really are the lens through which, reality of the business scenario in that area, in that particular region, is happening. They claim to be. So therefore they are, because they're the ones that stake their claim. I'm all about the whole thing of figuring out what's the space you want to own. How do you then plant your flag and claim that? And part of doing that is to grab the mic, is to grab the stage. Get out there, make your claim, because doing that being the voice that puts out your opinions and your views and your perspectives, not only is going a long way to perhaps, if you're not of that demographic, perhaps widening the conversation and the perspective on how things are, which is a nice, refreshing change. We need more of that. But as my dear mother used to say when I was a kid, why not you? She said it much more colorfully. It was something along the lines of, oh, for God's sake, think of all the assholes who have achieved that. If they can do that, so can you. Clean that up a little bit. And that is the attitude you need to have. Figure out what is the message that you want to get out there. What's the change you want to see? What's the space you need to own to make that change happen? And then get strategic. How do you need to be using podcast guesting as the thin edge of the wedge that's going to get you in there, that's going to be able to let you make your claim and change the narrative and make things happen the way you want them to happen? I'd be happy to help. Anyways, that's my rant for today. Hope you're having a good one.